So, hello and welcome to another episode of The Reluctant Leader. And today I am so excited. I am joined by the incredible Buckso, who I met a few years ago. And I think I'm going to let you introduce yourself in a minute, Bucks. But I remember we had this conversation that we're going to do a live together. And we stopped talking about a lot of stuff because we were like, let's save it for the live. Let's save it for the live. So this conversation has been like 2 years in the making. So I am as excited as everybody else to have this conversation with you. So welcome, Buckso. And if you could, please introduce yourself to everybody watching.
Thanks, Gurjinder. Thank you for having me as well. And as like with anything,
Finally.
everything happens with divine timing, right? Exactly when it's meant to. And when we first met up in Manchester, wasn't it? Was it a Laurie Burrows event?
Yeah.
Up in Manchester. And then I saw you at the train station and caught you for a chat. And the conversation was flowing, like you say. And it was one of those things where you just thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to set a time aside. And then you got really busy with your business. And we never really made anything of it until now. And like I say, I'm so glad we've managed to squeeze this time in. So I'm Buckso, and I'm a international motivational speaker, energy healer, and spiritual life coach. And I do a few other bits and bobs, which are a part of who I am, which we'll discuss later on. But for me, at this point in time in my life, what's become really obvious over the last 3 years since we've had this lockdown, etc., is the need for me to share my truth and wisdom that I've come about as my spiritual awakening happened in 2020 after my dad passed. And for me, who didn't have a relationship with my dad, not what you'd expect over the last 25 years, because I married out of my culture, I was absolutely astounded at the level of questions that came out. I've been in the spiritual world for about 30 years. I was going to psychic fairs at 19, 20, I've been going to psychics. I've been involved in all of this work. I was Reiki trained back in 2000, and I was I've always been ahead of the game, in my opinion. Some would call it visionary, but actually I was only ever doing what my soul wanted me to do. Now I know. I didn't know at the time, because once I broke away from the family, I was on my own. And at 25, you don't know a goddamn thing. So I just fumbled. I fumbled and stumbled through life with what became then my new husband and twins. So my twins are 21 now, and I had no support. You know how we as Asians have a very good, strong support network with our families, right? And we only had his mum, who was just turned 60 at the time. So it was to me, it was like, God, why me? Why out of 6 of us, middle child of 6, why have I had the twins and I've got the least support? Because how am I supposed to manage now? Everything changed for me. The life that I thought I was going to be living, working on the railway, which is where I met my husband, I would have gone into management, because ambition is what I'm about. I'm quite ambitious. I had no qualifications leaving school. I didn't go to college, because as soon as I left school with no qualifications, my dad was like, okay, you're going in the shop. You're not going to college. Because it was this or that, wasn't it? Back in there, he's like, you're thick.
Typical brown person mentality, right?
Honestly. And he was like, so we're going to leave Stoke, which is where I was born, Stoke-on-Trent, move to Derbyshire, a little town just outside the centre of Derby, mainly white. So I'd never had anything like that. Even at school, I'd got a black friend, a white friend, a mixed race black girl. So we were literally the United Colours of Benetton whilst we were at school. So, and then it was the Indian community, because we didn't go out to play. So when we moved to this place just outside Derby, I was like surrounded. It was just white folk everywhere. So I was in the shop. My dad had got a grocery shop. So 7 days a week, 10 hours a day. At the age of 16, I was running that shop. So for me, self-employment, seeing my dad as an ice cream salesman, market trader, I used to have to do that from the age of 10, 11. I hated self-employment. Being in business for yourself, it was like, not for me, mate. This is not going to happen for me. So the fact that it happened later in life at 37, well, actually, since I had the twins, I went and retrained as a beauty therapist. Self-employment was thrust upon me. I didn't choose it. Do you know what I mean? It chose me. And I was told by psychics when I was 19, 20 and whatnot, you're going to be, self-employed, working for yourself. And I was like, I'm not. I can't think what I would do, because it ain't going to be this, bricks and mortar corner shop. It ain't going to be a market trader. I ain't going to be an ice cream salesman, which is what my dad would as well. And it just put a really bad sour taste in my mouth. And I know what I know now. I know that it's definitely impacted subconsciously how I feel about business today.
Wow. And I think, do you know what? Our journeys are very similar on how we became business owners, because mine happened as well when I had children. And this is where the Reluctant Leader series started from, because I am also that reluctant leader that I never, ever thought a life in business was meant for me. And it almost found me in exactly that same way. So, what was the pivotal moment that you started your current business? And if you can just explain a little bit about your business journey and what brought you to your business today.
So when I left, I had to leave the railway. So the kids are born. I took a year out, and then I went back for a year. I couldn't go back on the train because I was on train. So I was like
Okay.
responsible for the safety of the train and taking care of sort of first class and the passengers and whatnot. Couldn't go back on there because of the shift work. So I went back part-time, Monday to Friday, as a receptionist at the Customer Service Academy. Bored me to death. Honestly.
I
Oh,
cannot imagine
what?
you.
Honestly, in a hotel, nice busy Mayfair hotel, probably, but not
Mm-mm.
where you've hardly got anybody coming in. It was horrible, to be honest. But actually, again, and I'll probably say this a lot, it was probably exactly what I needed because of the calm that it brought me. The kids were in nursery when I'd go to work. Do you know what I mean? So I put them in nursery to go to work, which some people would say, well, what was the point of that? You probably didn't make any money. And that's been the MO since having the twins. I've always been part-time since then. So I've never had a chance to really build much in the way of finance when it comes to, like I say, living life within the Asian culture and how they work and how they save and how they work and they save and they don't actually have any real quality of life. When I see my sisters now and they've got a great lifestyle in the sense of the house they live in and the businesses they've had, but the quality from my perspective, from what I have, is nowhere near,
Far more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so far more sort of fulfilling as
Mm.
well for me. But so I then thought, gosh, what am I going to do? So I went to work at egg banking, didn't work out there. And I thought, well, I've always liked beauty. So I qualified as a beauty therapist, carried on working at egg banking while I was training in that, went into beauty part-time. And then I thought to myself, you know what, this still isn't fulfilling me. What am I going to do now? Well, I've always, because I took drama, art, music, at French, all the creative sort of stuff at school. Like I say, 4Ds, 2Es, 2Fs later, left with nothing. But I knew that there was a love that I had for this because when I was 13, I don't know if you're old enough, Gurjinder, but you know the kids' TV program in the 80s, it was called Why Don't You?
Okay.
And I sang the theme tune to that kids' TV show at 13 years old. And that's when I found out I could bloody sing. Because on paper, it shouldn't have happened because mum and dad weren't going to send me to singing lessons, you know. They didn't know their arse from their elbow who was too busy trying to put food on the table for a family of 8, right? So here's me coming home saying, Dad, I want to be a singer. I want to be on the stage. You know, my naivety. And in that moment, you know, again, the programming shut down.
Mm.
You and 20,000 other people. So in other words, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
You've got no chance. You're never going to make it. This is what I'm thinking in my mind as a 13-year-old, right? And that perpetuated throughout my life. So I developed this. I'll show you. I'll show you. And I had that throughout my life, even when I married out the culture and they were expecting me to fail and be back with the tail between my legs. It was a constant, I'll show you. I'll show you. I want to go into acting. I'll show you. And I continued that in the back of my mind, even though I was in the shop day in, day out. And so finding my voice at that age, I now know at 50, there is a reason behind it because speaking from stage is what I need to be doing. But I didn't have that environment like we have nowadays where kids are given this class and that class to go to and find out what are you good at? What can you do? You know, we didn't get that luxury, did we? I didn't at that
And I
age
guess we didn't see a lot of brown people doing
at
what we
all.
wanted to do.
At all. So who was I looking up to? I don't know.
Mm.
I just had to be, again, the visionary, the pioneer for it. Granted, if I'd been in connection more with people, like, you know, I'd have seen Mira Sayal's journey and followed that probably. But we didn't have the mediums to use, did we, to watch and follow them journeys. So going through all of that, beauty therapy, I started to do a bit of background work as an extra. I thought, you know what? At least I'll be on set because I love it that much. So I started doing that alongside the beauty. But when I'd get called with 24 hours notice to go somewhere the next day, the girl that I was sharing with, job sharing, wasn't always available. No, I can't do that. So she said she would, but she never did in the end. So I had to leave the beauty and get a job with a friend's company who was running a training company. And I went out as employer engagement to make sure that all the pupils that were on the books were happy, employers are happy, everybody's happy. So customer facing, which is what I was great at. Let's be honest, I've been in the shop from 16, right? So customer service is my jam, expertise in that respect. And then I was like, a friend of mine got in touch with me after about a year or two of me doing this and said, oh, I've just met this guy. And because he was working as a researcher runner on this program production. And he was talking to one of the guys that was there who was giving some of the members some acting lessons, drama lessons, because he was head of drama at a stage school called Italia Conti in London. And he'd been speaking to my friend, and my friend was saying, oh, this guy, I think you should meet him. He's just set up his own agency and he'll love you. And I was like, straight in self-sabotage mode. I live in Derby. Have you told him I live in Derby? I've got kids, I've got 7-year. Have you told him I've got 7-year-old twins? And I haven't got any qualifications. I've not even been to drama school. Have you told him that? And I was throwing everything at it, hoping something would stick, and hoping he'd be saying, oh yeah, probably best not to.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You're right.
Yeah.
Because the self-sabotage, I'm going to say, don't worry, I've got this, guys. I'm going to say it before anybody else does. Yeah, I covered that, got it. Trust me. And that was my MO in life. I'll mess it up before you lot. It's all right. I can mess this up pretty good. I'll do it. So I've got this. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. I've got it. And so I went down to see him. I auditioned very badly because I didn't know that a monologue meant that you took a piece of text that was long, that was about a character that you could easily portray if you had to go and audition. So I did. I don't know if you've ever been to watch Chicago on stage.
Very long time ago, but trying.
Yeah, so the character, Roxy, very sexy.
Yeah.
She's got legs that just go up there like that, right? I'm probably as tall as one of her legs, but I chose Roxy.
Yeah, we need to put this in context. How tall are you, Buck? So we can...
I'm 5'3", yeah. And so probably one of Roxy's legs probably comes up to my bust, right? So let's just get that right. So I wasn't doing any of the dance moves, trust me. It was the scene that I picked. I forgot the words. I messed up. I fluffed up. And I was like, oh my God, stop getting. So then he gave me direction. He said, do that again. Angry. Now sad. Now this. Do that with that. And I'd give him what he wanted in that moment, which is called taking direction. And if you're an actor, it doesn't matter whether you've been to the best drama school in the world and had workshop after workshop and one-on-one training. If you cannot give the director what they want, pretty much like your clients, if you can't give them what they want because you're not listening
when they want it,
to what they said they wanted, you're not going to be picked again. But I took direction well, and that's what he saw in me. And he signed me up. And 3 months later, this is 2008, August, I got my first gig on Corrie.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
How amazing. And I'm so glad we brought your acting in, because this is exactly how I met you, because I think I recognized you from Hollyoaks.
That's right, yes.
I had my little fangirl moment, and I'm like, I cannot believe, firstly, I'm an event with another brown person in this room, and then secondly, oh my God, were you on TV? Were you on Hollyoaks? And that was incredible. So can you talk more about your acting journey? And did that lead to the business that you now have?
Yes. So within the industry, I had huge imposter syndrome, not going to lie, because as far as I was concerned, any minute whenever the director would call cut in a scene, I'd be like, is that because of me? Did I do something wrong? Was that me? I'd make it about myself. And when you operate from trauma, that's what you do. You make everything about yourself. You make the world revolve around you, right? Because you just think that that's all there is. It's me. The world hates me. And they were like, no. If you've done something wrong, the director's going to tell you if it's you. And it took me a long time. In fact, it took me 10 years nearly to 2017 when I've done all the soaps. I've been in all the soaps, Corrie 4 or 5 times. And, a couple of them I've been on 3 or 4 times, and then dramas like Silent Witness, Last Tango in Halifax, Unforgotten, Ackley Bridge, Waterloo Road, and I count, I'm so lucky the success that I've achieved. I mean, granted, what is success? Is it a big bank balance, or is it, I accolades, titles, things that you've been on, places.
I'll take a role in Hollyoaks any day.
You know what I mean? And this is it. It's a success. Well, it's success to you, right?
Yeah.
And so I look back, and I've never looked back because I'm not one that looks in the rearview mirror of life. I have no regrets. But now and again, you know, you have to just look back in your life and think, God, I did that. Because my head was down. I was in masculine energy for 30 years, operating on the do, got to survive, got to function, got to survive. Weakness is not allowed. Vulnerability, what is that? No idea. Tears, not in this yard. You're never going to see me cry. Do you know what I mean? But after my dad passed, a lot of that changed.
Just when,
But going back to that with the business and whatnot, imposter syndrome was a big issue. But when I did Aladdin in 2017, that's when it all kind of went, because I had a chance. You never get a chance to find out, why did you pick me? You just don't go into the director on the day that you're on set and say, yo, Jeff, why did you pick me then, mate? You just don't do it.
Broke my ego.
You know, you just don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in this instance, when I was at Aladdin and I was in the car traveling back from recording.
And guys, this is Aladdin the movie, right? Can we just not skip over that bit? This is Will Smith, Hollywood, Aladdin the movie.
Yeah. I mean, the first 5 minutes so you can really enjoy the film afterwards. Looking for me, which is the worst thing. And then I said to him, because he was the assistant to the musical director, this musical director did Beauty and the Beast as well, that film, that live action, they call it. And I said to him, just tell me about the process, about how you came to pick. Like, how does it work in big movies like this? And he was a young lad, so he was quite keen to just, like, you know, explain himself and feel like important. And he said, well, you know, we got all the auditions through and we picked 6, sent them off to Guy Ritchie with the recommendation that they go with you. And in that moment, I was just like, oh my God, he picked me. He picked me.
Yeah, and put me in front of Guy Ritchie.
Do you know what I mean? And Guy Ritchie picked me. That's what I mean. Guy Ritchie picked me and said, yeah, you said we go with her. Okay, we're going to go with her. I'm happy with that. And in that, I just let that sit, because I would love to be in a Guy Ritchie movie. I'd rather it was something like Snatch or
like a shoot 'em up, right?
You know what I mean? Like proper, like cool gang sort of bitch kick-ass sort of. I would love that. I really would. And so I'm just
next, if there are any directors or anyone listening to it
out there. And so that was it for me. And after that, I kind of went on set with a different energy. And then I also got into more energetic work. Like I'm qualified as a Reiki master, but I don't tend to practice that or advertise it because everybody's doing it. Like I said, I'm always a step ahead, visionary. I look ahead. I'm always at the edge of the curve. I don't want to get caught up in the melee of what everybody else is doing. That's not my jam. And then I did Access Bars in 2017, Access Bars, which was life-changing. And then I did Quantum Holographic.
Access Bars?
So Access Bars is where you put, or a facilitator puts their hands on the head in different points symmetrically and holds it for about 4 minutes at least, because the brain is electrical energy. And what it does, the electrical energy is all linking to thoughts. You talk about having, 90% of your thoughts are the same every day. And if you're having 60,000 thoughts or 4,000, who knows what the figure is now, people are talking differently. 90% of them are the same. They don't serve a purpose. So this process deletes the thoughts that do not serve a purpose.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's life-changing. And I know for sure that turning up in auditions or interviews that people might go to for jobs after having Access Bars brought into my life was life-changing. It was the thing that helped me to show up, because I wasn't going in with that imposter syndrome still. The thoughts around that. You might think you've got a strong mind, but the body holds a score. Your body will be telling you a different story. So that's why I trained in quantum holographic echo healing. Our body has an aura. It's called a hologram. It's called a quantum field. And if you have emotional trauma in your life, you think you've got over it, it can stay trapped in your energy fields, in your energy bodies. So I'm about releasing that energy and clearing that out so that you can move more freely and allow, it's no point doing manifestation and abundance rubbish if you haven't got any space.
No, it's like a bag, right? You're like a bag.
Yeah, empty that bag out. Get that stuff gone, right? It doesn't serve a purpose. A lot of people say, oh, I don't really want to revisit old stuff. We don't talk about stuff. I'll just get in there and I clear it, whatever's showing up in that moment and whatever your consciousness is ready to release. You don't get to pick. And then I went on to do something even deeper with that called chakra alchemy, where I go into the chakras and take away the cords I take the emotional frequency from what it is and we increase it to what the body is ready to receive. Because if I took a person straight from constantly being in lack, in jealousy, in greed, in fear, and took them all the way up to joy and peace,
They'd crash, right? They
they'd
wouldn't
crash
even know
out.
what to do with it.
It's detrimental.
Mm.
It has to be a slow process. That's why you can't go 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, which is why people say, can we just get to the end of this book? So do you have to go through this? Yeah, you do. Because this is what I used to
Just go
say.
for a drink.
Yeah, this is what I used to say. Oh, I don't really want to go for this. I'd have days where I just felt so low and so sad and all of the emotions. And I'm on my own because I've been on my own for 25 years, in everything I was doing. And so this last 3 years, the healing that's come out and about as a direct result of my dad's passing, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis in 2016 when I left the West End. So I had a year doing Bend It Like Beckham on the West End, the stage show, having never done theatre before.
I'm fangirling more and more. Every time you drop a name, I'm like fangirling even more.
And for me, at 42, moving to London and living in a flat in Swiss Cottage sounds amazing, but I got 11-year-old twins at home.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? My husband had to go part-time.
It's not like you can just keep going back and forth.
No, it would be on a Sunday. I couldn't go Saturday night because the show finished too late. So I'd have to leave on a Sunday, 9:30, first train. That was the first train. I'd get to Derby at midday. So I'd essentially, if the kids were at school on a Monday, I only had that afternoon and evening with them. And then they were gone again. But they didn't really, I felt it really badly. They didn't feel it because they were in their home, their bedroom. Mum's not here giving it all of that. Dad doesn't give a damn. So we get away with murder, So they were having good times. Whereas I was breaking in too. Do you know what I mean? Being away from the family every week like that and having to go on a Monday at midday, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock on the train down, ready for the show. And it was lonely. It was a very lonely affair. It was very lonely journey because, I wasn't meant to be there really, if I'm being honest. I should have said no. But you don't say no because there's plenty of actors that would love to be in your shoes, wouldn't they, Buckso?
Yeah.
And this is what we do. I'm doing it because I ought to. I didn't want to. And my body told me at the end when, 3 months in, I was mugged at gunpoint.
Oh my God.
So I was mugged at gunpoint and I'd just come back from the show and I came into the building and I saw this guy hanging around and I was like, what's he doing there? So I quickly got in and just pressed the button for the lift. I was looking at the, down the side to see what he was doing. And he's got his leg wedged in the door. So I knew he was going to come in. So the lift closed really slowly, for God's sake. And I've tried to press the button, but he'd run in and opened the door from the outside and put the gun round. But the thing is, and I'll say this, because it's easy for us to kind of get caught up in this, because it sounds like I'm being really calm, and I am very calm, because the situation was calm. Because he wasn't ragging me about. He wasn't a big burly guy. He was a young kid. The gun didn't feel real. I had a sense that everything was going to be fine. I had no moment in that time did I feel threatened. It was the whole visual of it all. Bloody hell, I'm in a lift. I'm stuck in a lift. It's
quite dramatic, was it?
You know what I mean? I've got a box of cornflakes I've just bought in my hand, taking up space. It's like, he's like saying to me, give me a bag. Give me a bag. I said, you can't have my bag, mate. You can't have my bag.
Take my cornflakes, but don't touch my bag.
You know what I mean? And then he's like, I'll give me your phone. I said, you can't have my phone. Because in my mind, I was flashing through inconvenience. Who am I going to get in touch with? All of this is flashing.
All this point, you've got a gun to your head.
Well, his face is in front of my face, yeah.
Facing you, yeah.
And I was like, just wait. And then I realized, I've just withdrawn 20 quid out of the machine. I said, wait, hang on a minute. No, take this. So I had to move the cornflakes to the side, get out of the way. I didn't put them on the floor. I had to keep holding them, didn't I? Just in case it protect me, because it wouldn't go through the cornflakes box, would it? And so I got out my purse and got the 20 quid. I said, here, take this. So he took it. And just at that moment, the alarm went off, because I think on a lift, if the door's wedged open, the alarm goes off, because in case somebody's fell and is stuck or something. And I thought the angels were protecting me. And all of that is no, the alarm's going off because the door's stuck open, Buckso. It wasn't, sorry. I thought I'd hit a button or something. But anyway, the door started to close and he's like, call the police and I'll kill you. It's a stupid thing to say, because it's mate, you don't even know what flat I'm in for a start. So how's that going to happen? And where are you going to come back to? Where are you going to come back to? Scene of the crime, just to mash me up. But anyway, I got upstairs to the flat. My flatmate was in, whose flat it was. I said, are you there, mate? Are you there? Are you there? And then, of course, started to cry. I don't know why. My body just probably went into shock. And I was like crying, just been robbed. And he was like, bloody, I've lived here 10 years, coming and going 15. I've never heard of that happening before. He was definitely not. Yeah,
I've
definitely.
lived in London all my life and I've never heard of it happening.
Mad, isn't it? So I have to ask myself, why? Why
Mm.
was I in that place and space? Because somebody'd say, oh, wrong place, wrong time, Buckso.
Right
Was it
place,
though?
right time. What was that telling me?
Was it though? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? What was that? You know, it's night before press night where all the celebrities are going to come. And my husband was coming down the next day. So, you know, he said to me, the flatmate says, do you want a drink? And I was like, no, it's okay. Are you sure? Are you sure? I was like, well, no. Okay. Thinking he'd give me a whiskey or something. He's only got champagne. So he opens the champagne. I was like, no, you don't. Honestly, you don't need to open the champagne. This is not a moment to celebrate. But then was it? Do you know what I mean? Was that celebratory moment?
A pivotal moment for you?
Absolutely. Because in that moment, I was just like, oh my God, what am I doing here?
Mm.
Why did I come? Why did I come here for this to happen to me? Why is it happening? What do I need to? I mean, I didn't take action on it. As hindsight's a wonderful thing. But anyway, the show went on. I know that the trauma that I experienced from that and from the 8 shows a week, not being very fit, being 42, I definitely, the rheumatoid, my body was just saying no all the time and I didn't listen. So it will show me. The day after the show finished, I couldn't walk. I couldn't stand up on my feet. They felt like they were in fire, burning. They'd had enough. It's like your body knows. You know, when people talk about going on break, they've been working. Oh, I can't wait for my breakaway. 2 weeks on holiday, and they're ill.
And they'll get ill. Yeah, your
But
body.
the body's been allowed to.
Yeah,
and that was it. Because mentally, when you're so strong in your mind, which is what I am, very strong-minded and resilient, you keep going. You don't allow yourself to think of things. It doesn't come into the I've got to be here. I've got to be here. There's no choice. I've got to be here. Got to be, let's go. Getting acupuncture every week, physio every week, taped up every week. So you just plow masculine energy. I wasn't going to be the northerner that shut the show, got a chest infection at Christmas. I had 2 days off because the other girl that was playing the lead, she was off. So we were all having to step up. I'm not going to be the one that lets the show down and shuts the show, the northern girl that they're expecting.
And the brown girl?
Yeah. Well, there's a brown cast, wasn't it? Majority of brown.
Okay.
No, actually, not majority. Half and half, actually. Half and half. But also, I didn't want to be the brown girl that did it.
That done that. Yeah.
You know, the rest of the cast could do what they want. But I didn't want to prove the point that, hey, that's what happens when you've not been to drama school or had any formal training. Don't forget, it was 2015. Imposter syndrome was huge, you know, and my husband's had to go part-time and I've sacrificed not being my kids. So, you know, that's not happening on my watch. And, you know, that sort of talk is not also very healthy for you, which I, you know, now know with hindsight. Right? Yeah, it's amazing. And so healing from everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what happened from that point? So obviously you've experienced this, you saw the end of the show.
Yeah.
And then did that lead to you having the business that you have today?
Sorry, I know I'm going around the houses, aren't I?
No, that's all right. That's okay.
But you know, I qualified as a
You kind of need to understand all of this.
Yeah, the life coaching qualification. I did that in 2017.
Okay.
Because I thought to myself, do you know what? I don't ever want to not have a qualification for something ever again. I don't ever want to feel imposter syndrom again. I didn't do
life coaching.
Because people are always asking me for advice anyway. And I was giving great advice on the set, on the show, the West End, Buckso, you know, what you're talking about, wise woman, and all this. And I was like, well, maybe I ought to do this. I don't know what I'm going to do with the qualification after, but I'm just going to get it so I know I've got it. And I didn't do anything with it, which I regret because lockdown would have been probably a little bit better. But then everything again happens in divine timing, exactly when it's meant to, right? So I did that, carried on with the acting. And then when I was doing bits on the side, I'd always do bits on the side in between. The acting always came first. Okay. So I always prioritized
that everything. That was your bread and butter.
Yeah, everything. Well, no, actually, I had to do the bread and butter job to make sure. Because the acting, just before lockdown, I was getting to the place where I was going from job to job. Okay. But lockdown happened and that never happened. So I literally would have been in 2020 would have been the first time 12 years later where I would have been going from job to job. I've never had that happen since. So you've always got to do that in between job. So you have to make sure that the in between job is something you enjoy, something you like, something you thrive on. I used to do promotional work and all of that sort of stuff. But I thought maybe the life coaching could be something I incorporated. But I was too lazy. I was too lazy to create business because I'd always got this thought in my mind, self-employed. Yeah, that means I'm going to be like a business owner and like my dad. And that doesn't work
Working
out
lots of
very well.
hours and
Lots of hours. Yeah, it meant hard work. It meant hassle, grief, trouble, strife. That's all I knew self-employment to be. So I didn't pursue that avenue. I just carried on doing the bits and bobs of work that I could do in between the acting work that was flexible because I just wanted flexibility. And then Dad got ill. And then, like I say, we didn't have a great relationship. And I was still on this healing journey and learning all of these modalities. For myself, primarily, because I'm a big advocate of being the embodiment of what it is that you say you do. Okay. And there's too many unhealed healers out there. There's too many coaches that haven't been coached, had their own crap sorted. There's too many of them. And I'm happy to call them out because not to have a fight or confrontational, it's time people got a bit more discerning about who they pick for their business, their services, their life.
Who they invest in.
That's it.
And not just money, it's your energy who you're investing
Time
in.
and energy. Yeah, it's like you're never going to get that back. So, when you call somebody crap or they were rubbish, well, how invested in it were you? Why did you do it? Was it because everybody else was doing it? You got FOMO? Take responsibility and ownership for who you are and what you're about. And, live with that or don't complain.
Learn from it. Learn from it.
Yeah. So when I went, what was it, about 2019, October, I started to get really low, very down. And I was like, this isn't my stuff. Because I work with energy, so I pick up on people's energy. I'm claircognizant, so I have a knowing. I just know. I just know. I just know. It's like when you just know that the Eiffel Tower's in Paris. I can't tell you how. I just know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I was taught it once, but I just know it's there. So that's what I have. So I'd say to my spiritual teacher, I said, I'd give her the scenario, and she said, "It's your dad's higher self communicating with yours." I was like, "Why me out of all of us? We don't have a relationship. What's going on? Why? Yeah, what's going on there?" And she goes, "Well, your higher self is the most receptive. It's more open to receive." And that's where I knew that my gift was to connect with other people's higher selves. And okay, so from October, we found out that my dad was going to go on dialysis and he wanted me to come down and be there. And I've got all this turmoil inside because it's like, yeah, but Dad,
history, right? All the history is coming back.
All that stuff's coming up. It's like, what is it? The expectation, the cultural expectation. I told you to be here. You need to be here. It wasn't done like that, but it was almost like that. Back to that daughter, that child, the young girl being told what to do. Buckso, you need to come down and stop a couple of nights a week because your mum's deaf and she can't hear me at night. And I was like, why do I need to go? In my mind, I wasn't saying it to him because I wanted to still people please, still please him, still think that, you know what, there's something that I can get right for you. I didn't marry who you wanted me to. I get it. But maybe I can still redeem myself in your eyes somewhere. So again, doing something that I didn't want to do. My body didn't want to do it, but my mind was overriding. You've got to do this, Buckso, because, you might be able to make it right. And then he might meet Nick and he might come and, have him around the house and talk to him. Never mind the fact that he hasn't in 25 years, he might do now. So forever living in hope. And when I'd go down, I'd start the process of healing while I was in the next bedroom. And, I'd go through something called Ho'oponopono. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Of course.
Yeah. And it was amazing. And it started the process. And I'd be in the next bedroom, crying my eyes out, knowing that the healing that was going on was primarily for me, but it would eventually release anything that was connected from a cord between me and my dad. And so I went through that process only within my own thing. I had to do it for myself. You can only ever do it for yourself. And so the time came, and then when he passed in the January 2020, I was then, it's crazy when you think about it, because after that, a month later, 3 weeks later, I got an audition for Corrie. And I was like, am I going? What am I doing? Oh, yeah, okay. I went up there, did the audition. And they said, how you been? What you been up to? And I said to them, my dad passed, it's his funeral tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry and all this. And I was playing the role of a Shona, is in Corrie. She had a brain injury and I was her nurse, nursing her back to being back with her child and whatnot. So it required a certain amount of gravitas, which I didn't even try for. I just read the lines and delivered them whatever the energy was in that moment, because I didn't give a shit. couldn't care less. Do you know what I mean?
Got your dad's funeral the next day, of course.
You know what I mean? Things are more
Yeah.
important here. And it's like, I've got this audition. I've said yes to it. Should I be here? I don't know. I'm just going to do what I do anyway. It's like, this is what's happening in my life right now. End of. And that became the MO thereafter. And I was like, you know, I got the job. I had 6 episodes, the most I've ever done on Corrie. That was in February 2020. Feb 2020. We filmed it that year, a month later. March, just before lockdown, I finished filming. And thereon in April, my voice went. 6 weeks every day it went. I lost my voice incrementally. No reason why. I've got no COVID. I've got nothing wrong with me. Got no pain. Got no fever. Nothing. I'm just like, why am I talking like this? And the, you know, kids are laughing at me because I couldn't shout at them anymore, or shout up the stairs, or shout people, do it, or use my voice. Wow. And in that moment of the 6 weeks, where towards the end of the 6 weeks, I'd like, literally it was gone. In that moment, I realized I can't never not have my voice.
Yeah, you've got too much to say.
It was another reminder.
Yeah,
Going back
wow.
to that 13-year-old that sang Why Don't You? Why did I sing that random? Oh, now I know at 47 years old. Why? You know, you don't always get the answers that you need in that moment, and they might not come for 20 years. If somebody had said to me in the shop when I'm stood there on my own, 10 hours a day at 17 years old, Buckso, you're going to be on the West End, you are, you know. Yeah, you are. But
you're going to go to London. Your name's going to be
London.
Right.
You know, you're going to be, but you're going to be 42. I would have been, forget that.
Whatever.
I ain't doing that then. Forget it. I want it now. But because your youth and naivety doesn't know any better, you are very quick to cut off then and limit yourself. So sometimes, you know, we just don't need to know when things are going to happen, and just trust.
Just trust
the process. It's coming. If your intention is set. My intention was always there. It just got pushed to the back. I always still wanted it. I never decided, nah, it's not for me. I always still wanted it. And if you have that, you just set the intention and let the universe work its magic, right? But with my voice, it was like, oh my God, I don't care if the acting goes, but I can never not sing again. I have to be able to sing, right? So I knew that I had to be able to sing. So that was my lesson, realization.
Why was singing so important?
Because that's how I can express myself. Singing came before. Singing came before the acting, really. And people always say, would you see it was singer or actor, Buckso? And I could never pick. But well, they do have to be one of the same, aren't they? Don't get me wrong. I don't like acting through song, like musical theatre. I'm not a fan of that. I either want to act or sing. I don't like doing both, right? So
what are kind of some of the singing stuff that you've done? Well, I didn't know you were a singer.
Yeah, I haven't done anything per se. Obviously, we sang on the West End. We had to sing there. But for me, I've sang like at venues, local venues and things. I sing a lot of just more jazz, big ballads, jazz, Shirley Bassey, Barbra Streisand, Dionne Warwick. I love all of them songs, you know. And so, yeah, I just get great joy out of being able to sing because it's so cathartic for what it does. When you are doing, because of sound, it's all about sound.
It's the frequency, isn't
it? Frequencies, yeah.
That's vibrating at. That is very different.
Over the years, the last 2 or 3 years, more so the first 2 years, 2020 to 22, every now and again, my voice, the left-hand side, would ache and hurt. I'd have a lump in there. It'd last about a day, 2 days, and then it'd go. Nothing else. I wouldn't do anything with it. And it'd keep happening every month or so, every couple. And I know categorically right now, hands down, I know, you know, that knowing I talk about, I know that this is simply because the left-hand side is about the feminine. I've been living in masculine energy for so long. It's almost like the left-hand side of my body was waking up, the feminine side, because my heart had been cracked wide open. I'd had it shut for 30 years.
And this is because when your dad passed.
That's right. All of this started to happen afterwards. And then I noticed that my voice would change when I was talking. I'd be like, I sound different. When I'd sing, I'd be like, I sound different singing that. I can go higher, which is interesting because I've always had an alto voice, quite a low voice. But where I was able to position my voice and whatnot, it was like, oh my God, I've never been able to do that before. So I know something has categorically changed in my voice box and the sound of my voice, because now so many more people say I could listen to you all day. Your voice, do you do voiceover? Every single person I meet that's in the industry, professional, will say that. And I know that something has categorically changed within my voice. I know it. And it's because it's getting ready to channel spirit, source, whatever you want to say. Even if it's when I'm speaking on stage, I don't necessarily have to be doing psychic readings because that's not what I do. But when I speak in a way that if somebody says to me, which they do, oh, that was great, Buckso. Say that again. What did you say? I'm going to write that down. I can't tell you. I don't know. I have no idea what I just said.
Because it was channeled.
Just flowing. I'm not thinking about it, which is where ego comes in. Ego's gone. Since Dad's passing, I've been stripped of ego, stripped of identity. I don't even need to refer to myself as British Indian with the, Punjabi parents. Because as I stand here today, categorically, I would say I'm a soul and a spirit having this human experience. And I chose to have this experience in a Punjabi family. I'm not my skin color. I'm not my hair color. I'm not my hair. I've kept it white because I don't care. Not because I'm being an arse about it. It's because I genuinely have no attachment to anything now. What happens because I'm so secure in why we're here on this planet and the truth that I now have had revealed to me through my healing, that I see my dad as not this monstrous character that ruined my life because he had to be so stuck in his ways, which is where we come from, the humanistic perspective. It's from a place of respect and humility to know that this guy was just a 17-year-old lad that came to the UK, that had no education, that was trying to function with 6 kids.
And he just done the best he could, right? And
that's it.
That is one of the things that because obviously one of the things we both connected on was my dad passed as well. So literally a year after yours, my dad passed too. And I think I had the same experience that you had, that once everything else has gone, all you're left is with pure love. All you've got is pure love, and you can see things very differently. And you get to see things as they are rather than what we had in our heads.
Yeah. Not the perception based on trauma, doctrination, generational trauma, their stuff that's in your DNA, that your experiences then cement even further. You don't realize that this is just a pot that we can get out of.
Yeah.
This is a pot that we've been born into, that's been thrown into. We can get out of this if you want to. But a lot of us don't because we're scared of letting go of an identity that we've had all our lives, because it's like, who will I be?
That's what we've been known for.
Yeah.
Why would you say anything else?
Who will I now be? Who will I now connect with? Who will I now hang out with? And you'll find those people. Being on my own, I'd go window shopping. I wouldn't sit in the house on my own. I'd have to be somewhere amongst people. I didn't like my own company. But now I'm just like, oh God, this morning I was on my own. I just loved it.
You pray for that time, don't you? I'm like that as well. I'm like,
honestly, just for me and just to be and have the quietness and not have to think about anything or anyone else except just me. And it's not selfish. It has to be done because otherwise you're just not functioning at the very best that you can, because people need to drink from your saucer, not the cup. It shouldn't be taken from the cup that you are full of. You should be that full that you're brimming over into the saucer.
Overflowing, right?
Let them take
that overflow.
Let them take it from the saucer, let them take it from there, not your cup. And so going into business for me, I was going to give up the acting. It was like, I'm not doing that anymore. Why not? Well, it was.
Have you given up acting now?
No, not officially. I did nearly. In my mind, I did. And in my heart, it's like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done with this vacuous industry, this shallow, good for nothing, sending people up the wrong, all of that started to be a bit like, I found everything wrong with it. I just totally saw everything wrong with it. And the people that it produces, the individuals that it perpetuates, because there's plenty of actors and performers out there that are trauma-based and don't want to do anything about it. They'd rather turn to drugs or alcohol or fake it continually. And I'm just not there for that anymore, because that takes energy. And when I think about the fact that my dad was 74 when he passed, if I managed to live to that age, I've got 24 years left on this planet. That is nothing.
That is nothing.
That's nothing when I think about the 25. I've just flown with with the kids and my family. And, oh my God, we literally have 3 blocks of 25s to live by. We have 3 blocks of 25. Your first 25 years, then the 25 years you spend messing around trying to find out who you are.
Ignore those ones, right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you're finding out who you are. You're marrying who? Are we getting a house? Do I like you? Oh, you're doing this. I'm insecure. I'm having kids. I'm tired. Where am I going back to my job? Have I got an identity? My promotion, bigger car, bigger house. Oh my God. And it's just like now I get to this age and I'm like, still in the same house that I was in 25 years ago. That was a stepping stone. But when the twins came along, we couldn't move. Would never have happened. It was never going to happen. And like mortgage free next year. So I'm thinking, well, what now?
Wow. And
We
that's
could
such
have
a
had,
milestone, right?
well, you're supposed
We
to be.
all have a
Society
25
tells
year.
us.
Do you know what?
Society,
Buckso, can I just say, I know so many people with a 25-year mortgage, and I'm finally meeting someone who's getting to the end of that. I've got about another bloody 20 years or so to go on mine.
And this is it. This is where we get caught up in the melee of it all. It's like, oh my God, you reached the milestone. And it's like, is it a milestone? Says who? Society tells you that you pay off your mortgage and then you enjoy your retirement and your pension. And my husband has a bit of a problem with the fact that I don't have a pension. I said, I do what I love. Why would I ever stop doing it?
He's the real brown person, isn't he? If he's got a problem.
Do you know what I mean? He is. Even though he's like English, he's like, you're actually more browner than I am, mate. You know, it's like, where you're the one that's got the life that needs to be escaped from. I haven't. I've created a life. Thank God. After having the twins, I was forced into that path. And thank God for my husband for running the ship for 25 years, you know, and being that steady Eddie.
But can you see now that it couldn't have happened any other way?
That's right. I have no regrets. Everything, even though people say, would you go back and do
Coulda,
it?
shoulda.
Yeah, no. Even if I sit here and say, you know, feeling as enlightened as I do, and would you have persevered, Buckso, with your dad a bit more and maybe had a bit more of a conversation about him and Nick? Doesn't matter what I want. He was still the same guy.
Yeah.
He was still the same guy that hadn't had therapy, hadn't had, you know, couldn't see the error of his ways. He was right. And that's all there is to it. And you have to meet people, places and things exactly where they are. You have to meet them where they are. Right. And so with the acting, I went to my agent and said, you know what? I'm going to get a proper job. I need to have some security. I need to know how much money's coming in every month. I just need to have this stability. And he's like, okay. So I'm just going to probably let the acting go. So just let, you know, he says, I'm not going to take your resignation. I'm not going to accept it. He said, you know, take all the time you need. I'll work around. You don't have to say yes to everything. Because that's what I did.
Yeah, just say
I made it a thing.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll go to that audition. Sorry, I've got to cancel tomorrow. Sorry, darling. Our kids are sorry I can't go with you to that tomorrow. I missed out on so much when they were younger. Because I was so busy, like, yeah, I'll be there, yeah. Okay. And my husband would be like, we're going to such and such. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no problem. That's fine. Yeah, 11 o'clock. Okay, bye. You know, and it's like sacrifice. How many people out there who have their businesses and want success are willing to sacrifice stuff? If you're not, you won't. You won't get anywhere.
It is. It's a golden $1 million question, isn't it? What are you willing to give up to get what you want to get? And not a lot of people are. They're not willing. They just want it easy and instantly, like right now.
Yeah. And it's never going to happen. And if it does, it's not going to be sustainable. That's a fact, because you haven't become a vibrational match to what it is to receive that level of success, because you haven't gone through the hardship and built up your resilience to be able to cope. Because when you have $1 million coming in, you have $1 million problems. You know, the problems don't go away. They just get bigger and more expansive. Are you expansive enough to receive that? You know,
and all that unhealed trauma comes out times 1,000,000 at that stage.
Honestly, people say, I wish I was more confident, Buckso, like you. You know, I wish I was more confident. How do I get more confident? What you're supposed to say, that's not the way you word. The wording is very, very key, because the power of the spoken word backed by intention is absolutely huge on universal law, right? What you're supposed to go about saying is, I'm ready to receive the vibrational match of what it is to be more confident. If you're not ready to receive anything, if you can't receive a compliment, you ain't going to receive that, are you? It's as simple as that.
So true. And can I just say, and because we are both brown, when we go somewhere and we're like, we don't let people pay for us.
I know.
If we can't even receive a free lunch,
I've
How
got
are
over
we
that.
going to receive any
I have
abundance?
got over
There
that. I have
is.
got over that, man. It's like, no, 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 don't worry. Let me pay. Let me say, no, no, don't you leave it, leave it, leave it.
Yeah, yeah,
Don't. You're going to offend me if you do
yeah.
that. It's like, really, mate, bigger fish to fry, yo. I am not here to offend you. If you take
Mm.
offense because I'm paying for my own lunch, please, we need to have a conversation about that. You need to probably
Yeah,
go
we're
and do
going
some.
halves or we're doing whatever that is. It's
Yeah.
so
It's
true.
like, we make things out of things. There's no need for it.
Mhm.
So, like I say, with the acting, I said to him, I'm going. He said, no, you're not. I'm not going to take your resignation. So I just let it be. And then this job didn't work out. After 5 months, it went away. So I was like, you know what? By that time, I'd come around. I was like, I'm okay to say no. I'm going to go back into it and say, look, I'm ready. I'm back on it. And I said to myself, if I don't like what something comes through, and I think that's like, I can't be asked because I don't want to go to London for an audition and it's a 6-hour round trip. I used to enjoy it in the early days. Get on the train down to London. Yeah, pop in there, pop in there. Oh, lovely. Yeah, I'm off now. 6 hours round trip. It's a full day at the office. Now it's like, can't be asked. Have I got the energy for that? I don't care what the audition is.
Yeah.
I don't care, mate. I've detached from the outcome. I used to be so invested in the outcome. It'd be like early days. Oh, I've not heard from the agent. Oh my gosh. My husband would say, oh, it's been 3 weeks, not had the agent ring up, have you? And now 3 weeks can go by. I've not heard from the agent. It doesn't matter.
You had to go through that.
You had to.
You had to go through that to then become that vibrational match to
Right.
receive all the success that you're receiving now, right? So
That's
you can
it.
handle it.
That's it.
You can
And
handle
because
it.
you get to that point where you're like, it's about damn time. Do you know what I mean? You have to get to that point where it's like, yeah, Buckso. It's like, oh my God, look, you're doing this, you're doing that. It's like, oh, wow. It's like you're doing so well. It's like, it's about time, bitch. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I've
I
been
think I made
waiting.
that comment to you as well, didn't I? I was like, Bucks, you're
Yeah.
everywhere. And you're
I
like,
know.
yeah, God damn, about time.
Yeah.
I'm everywhere.
It's about bloody time. It's like, God damn, it's about time. And, it's effort. It is effort. And at this age, you lose the energy that I had in my 20s of fire. I'm like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to be like that. I've got to go for that job. Got to go for that promotion. Yeah, I'm going to go for that audition. I'm going to learn the
Masculine
lines.
energy, right?
It's gone. It's gone.
All
Not
that
because
ego, masculine energy.
that's it. That's it. And people say, oh, you're not as interested. You're not as passionate about it, are you, Buckso? So that's probably why you're not, getting the jobs anymore. And it's like, no, it's not about that. It's not important. And it's
And
not
it is
as
quite
important.
funny when you talk about those times. Every time I've seen you, you've been chill. You've been literally sat back in your chair, really, really relaxed. So even I'm hearing about a different version of you that I've actually even seen.
Yeah, because with this last year, 3 years, and I know I'll keep going on about it, but the pivotal moment came when I saw my dad's cremation, going into the chamber. And I was like, oh, right. So that's where ashes make diamonds. How does that happen? Give it a bit of a search. We have about 3 grams of carbon in our bones when we die. And the carbon is what creates a diamond in a laboratory. After about 10 months, you pay 4 grand. People get the diamond and they put it on a necklace. And I was like, but why do you have to wait until you die to shine? Why do we have to wait until we get to the end of our life where we're created in this valuable, expensive, brilliant, beautiful, dazzling, bright thing that people get to love after you've gone? Why can't you just show up like that now?
Yeah.
Because
And that is what's something really interesting, because that is the name of your business, right? Your name of your business is Dying to Shine.
Yes.
And where did that come from?
Well, if you think about it, every single day, wouldn't you agree? We are slowly but surely dying. We're getting older. Yeah.
There's
Even
no,
though,
you can't beat
get
around
away
the
with
bush.
that.
That's reality.
Even though our body regenerates itself after 2 years, we have everything brand new in our body.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes.
Ooh.
But it gets mashed up because we constantly live in toxicity.
Okay.
And when you recognize that healthy cells cannot survive in a toxic environment, you'll recognize.
Can't out-train a bad diet, right?
This is it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because we continue to bombard ourselves with toxicity, that's why we never stay alive longer. Okay. So we are slowly but surely incrementally dying slowly every single day. And if we're going to go to the end of our life and become a diamond, are we just slowly dying to shine?
Wow.
Right. So I was that invested. I got a tattoo.
I love that. That
Yeah,
is embodiment, right? That
that's
is
it.
embodiment.
That's when I became committed. This was about 4 months ago, 3 months ago. I got the tattoo. I turned 50 last year, and I have had one tattoo on my shoulder blade, which is Betty Boo in my early 20s. And
Love it.
and now I was like, if you have one now, what's it going to be? Because it's better have some meaning
Mm.
to it. And that's what it is, because I remind myself that everything I've gone through has built up my resilience to what it is today, right? And diamonds, did you know? And I use a lot of analogies of the diamond in parallel to my coaching and my training and my mentoring, because I created a program called the Sparkle Effect. And I say program, it's actually a
Ooh,
process. Yeah.
okay.
I don't want to be programming anybody. We've had enough programming in life, right? This is a process, a 7-phase process that I've gone through in the last 3 years. And Sparkle stands for self-awareness, purpose, authenticity, resilience, know thyself, leadership, embodiment. And then I put it into a verse, and the verse goes to explain what it is to live with the Sparkle Effect, is that once you become self-aware, your purpose is revealed, which means you are then able to live your life more authentically, knowing that everything you've ever gone through has helped to build you up into the resilient individual that you are. And you get to know yourself a lot more. So you're able to step into the leadership role that you have in life and become the embodiment of all that is.
I love that.
Mm. And it became easy. That
Yeah,
downloaded to me so
yeah.
easy that it wasn't a gimmick, a marketing gimmick or an effort. I was like, the sparkle, sparkle, that's what diamonds do. They sparkle, they shine. And I was like, what would I use to sparkle? What have I gone through? I've gone through becoming more self-aware like never before.
Mm,
It revealed my purpose, which is to be the voice for others, use my voice to help others to heal. And then living my life authentically, which is what I now do, is just, well, it's liberation on a new scale. And knowing that everything I've ever gone through has built up my resilience to be this strong individual. And I'm so grateful for it. So grateful for it that I know who I am now. I know myself so much that nobody can ever tell me something new, because I know the truth of who I am. I'm just a soul and a spirit in this meat suit that's being hosted. It's
me
hosting me.
too.
Yeah, I
I
chose
love
this
that.
body.
Let's
I
meet
chose the
soon.
body. Yeah, I chose this body to host me for this time. And now I can show up as a true leader in what I do, just as the embodiment of it. What
Yeah,
I
and I love
say,
that.
what I say just adds power to what it is that
Mm.
people feel when they're in my space. And I say that with no ego, because of the comments that I receive at every event that I speak at. It's, oh my God, I love your energy. I love you. If I had a pound, I'm not even joking. If I had a pound for every time somebody said that to me, it's actually getting to the point where it's like people come up to me. It's like, oh my God, can I just say? And I was like, don't tell me you love my energy.
I know it already, and I
You
can
love
vouch
my energy.
for this because I felt exactly the same, and it
And that
wasn't
was
just
then. That
yeah,
was
that was a
then
few
before
years
I even
ago.
come through
Yeah,
where I am today. I'm just constantly
100%,
evolving.
and I've been seeing your journey unfold just like everybody else on social media. I've been seeing it on social media, but it has been absolutely incredible. It's been one incredible journey. And I know you spoke about 3 sets of 25 years. So you're in your second set of 25 years and going into a third set. So what does this third 25 years segment look like for you?
Well, this is it. What do you do when you have
Is
all
this
this
your
new
time to
knowledge?
shine?
This is it. And it's
Mm,
like, oh my God, I get it. I haven't got just 5 years left. Well, I don't know actually how long I've got left. But when you see people in their 70s and they get it, and I'm like, I wish I got it in my 30s. And this is what I want for those 30s out there. Something's out there.
mm.
It's like, I get it. But now that I have all this knowledge, the responsibility that weighs on my shoulders now is a lot heavier, because it's
'Cause you've got
like,
more to do, right? In less time.
how are you gonna show up now?
Yeah.
How are you going to show up? And it's like, well, the easiest thing that's consistent is just authentically. It's just as I am,
Mm.
unapologetically, with no anger or fear anymore. It's all love. And I say love as in you can't have both. And I was operating from anger and fear for most of my life, the last 30 years, if not longer. And to have all of that taken out of my body, energetically removed, and, you know, passed on through into the ether, has been the most life-changing thing that I've ever had happen to me. And this is what I want for other people. When I speak about spirituality, folks are so scared of the word. They think it's a religious connotation, which it
Voodoo.
isn't. I'm not religious. Yeah. And they want to make you wrong or make it something that's not to be taken seriously, so they don't have to do anything about it then. And it's like, well, why would you want to go through life being
Being like
constantly
that.
disconnected? Yeah, constantly disconnected from the true you, constantly disconnected from the truth of who you are. Why would you want to do that?
Just to
Why
prove
wouldn't
a
you want
point.
to? You
Yeah.
know, why wouldn't you want to go through life just constantly in a state of high vibration, where you might have the odd day where you feel a bit niggly, but it doesn't put you on your arse, you know? You get over it and you get on and you get through it and you smile at everything and you hug a tree unashamedly, which I do now. And I see flowers that are just on their own, a poppy standing on its own, and I marvel at it in that moment because I can feel
That
now, because I couldn't,
experience.
yeah,
Yeah.
just feeling that love. And I say love as in people get, I used to get confused about that. I don't love people from a perspective of knowing.
Romantic love.
Yeah. It's just the opposite of fear.
Yeah. And I guess how we approach this conversation as well, we've both approached this conversation with so much love
Yeah, and being open.
and
This is what it is.
open.
Being
Yeah,
open from
and
the
honest.
heart is what it is, because there's no agenda. There's no agenda. There's no ego. There's no need for me to appear anything. I trust you because that's the intention I've set. You trust me. It's a mutual respect. And, you know, it's about raising each other up and sharing whatever it is. You don't need to necessarily go through what I've gone through, but you have the platform to allow other people to feel it and see it.
And we can learn so much. So one, I don't know if I'd call it regret, but I guess one of the things you did mention is that you would have loved to have lived your third 25 years during your second 25 years. So there's a lot we can actually learn from this. So there's probably a lot of people out there that might be in their second 25 years. What advice would you give them right now?
You've got to really connect with the true version of who you are, and that does require you to do some healing work. You have to do it. You have to do it. This is not a cultural, religious thing. This is a soul spirit thing. You know, we've all got the same thing, that is that essence that's within us. Find out who that is. Really get comfortable with the process of getting uncomfortable. Get to the point where you're done with living life like this. Recognize whether you are. And if you're not, and you're happy to toe the line, be okay with that. Just don't make other people wrong for it. Yeah. Allow yourself to discover and explore your voice by taking a chance, but do it with somebody who's done it before. I had nobody. So I literally was fumbling around in the dark, not knowing how to do things properly. But I would like to be the support for those that are going through this themselves. And I met, because to be honest, it was easy being disconnected from the family and not having anything to do with them for 25 years almost. I would just go back intermittently now and again at weddings and things. And I'm not asking other people to cut themselves off from the family, but I want them to also recognize when to come away, when to be
You are
there.
a separate entity as well, right?
Separate entity. You're born into this family. You don't have to live your life unto them. You know, and you say it with love. Whatever they're going to do, they're going to do because they're coming from trauma. They're not going to do their work. People that you're looking at in your life who you wish were like this because they're like that, they're not going to do their work. You change.
Yeah.
You can do that. And the environment changes.
And you can break the cycles, right? So we've both got girls, we've both got daughters, and actually not even daughters, even if you've got children, a next generation that follows after you, whether they're nieces or nephews, you can actually break the cycle so that whatever your parents had and your families had, you don't carry and pass on to that next generation.
That's your job. That's your responsibility. That's what you're here for. That is all you're here for, to remember that, hey, I'm a separate entity. I'm a soul and a spirit. We choose to forget, because if you imagine, if we might remembered all our lives that we've had before, it would be a mess. So we choose to forget, and our job is to remember the fact that, I've got some healing work to do. I'm triggered here. I'm triggered there. I'm triggered there. I'm going to do something about this. And if it means that I am ready to discard everything that I've known up to this point, then so be it. It's like
Yeah.
when I was on my journey and I was ascending further and getting higher vibrational over the last 2 or 3 years. My concern, which I shared with my spiritual teacher, was that I would leave my husband behind because he
Mm.
wasn't doing the work. But I also had to be okay with the fact that I might have to leave him behind. And that's okay. I do it with love and a commitment to myself and my journey here. People would say, oh, you're on a bit of a road of a discovery. Like, how selfish. No, because I get to be the best version of who I am and you get to see what that looks like.
Yeah.
I'm
And
happy
you
to do that.
everybody else doesn't have to do the work. As soon as you do the work, that actually spills out into the world around you.
It has
So
to.
your partner doesn't have to do the work, the children doesn't, your community doesn't, your friends, your family doesn't. As soon as you do it, the whole universe shifts
Shifts.
the world around you.
You create a new paradigm. You
Yeah.
create a new reality, not the one that you're on. And people can do that for themselves. Imagine if we all did do it for ourselves. It would be so much easier, more cohesive. You'll find yourself in situations and scenarios where there's people that refuse point blank to do anything and refuse to accept you in your new version. They will become less and less prevalent in your life. And you might need to bless and release a lot of people from your life because like an air
Mm.
balloon, hot air balloon wanting to leave, you've got to release the sandbags to allow yourself to leave the ground, haven't you? And that's what it's required for us to do. So going forward for the next 25 years, what I want to do and what I'm committed to do is the healing work, healing as many people as I can. And I do a lot of group healings now online, and I also do them in person at my retreats.
Which
And I'm
are in
going to do
Derby.
in Derby, in the countryside, the Derbyshire countryside. And I want to next year make it all about being more available on global stages around the world, where what I speak about and what I teach is healing in its very nature of hundreds and hundreds of people at the same time. This is what I've been told, that this is what my work is on this planet, is to help people walk through the void.
Mm.
There's a lot of people stuck in a void right now.
So many. And obviously, if people are listening to this conversation and they kind of do want to reach out to you and get any support, obviously, we've got your Instagram and we've got your website there as well. But what is the best way for them to get support from you or come and find out kind of the stuff that you're doing?
So if you want to, obviously the website is there. You can pop on there and get in touch on the contact page. I've got a couple of freebies on there on the resources as well to give you a little taster of what I'm about. I'm very much more prevalent on Instagram in my stories. So please hop into my DMs if you want to have a chat about anything.
And they're quite entertaining as well.
And I do like to do these once a month, if not twice a month, when I get more organized, I guess. These online group quantum
They
healing.
look amazing. I've seen them, and I think I wanted to join the last one, but it just clashed.
Yeah.
But they look absolutely incredible.
And I like people to join live, which is why I don't record them.
Which is why I couldn't attend the other one. Yeah.
Because the whole process behind that is that we become more committed to our journey by taking that time, precious time out, blocking it out and giving ourselves that time because we deserve it. We should have that,
100%.
especially within the Indian culture.
Yeah, and I think I really love that it wasn't about the money, because you could have easily said to me, yeah, you can catch it on replay, but you were like, no, if you're not coming live, you're not coming.
I didn't say it like that, no. I wasn't like that.
No, you didn't say it like that, but you were like, you need to come live because it's
You
the
need to
energy
come
that
live.
we're creating in that space. And I
Because
was
the
like,
collective, when there's a
appreciate
group of people together and we're all on the same page, the power of it is magnified. And, you know, that's what I want you to experience rather than the half-hearted job of a recording, you know, that which is fine if it's a masterclass, but when there's energy work involved, it's so much more beneficial in flesh, as it were.
And I find that when you do watch something on replay, you're kind of doing something else.
You will, yeah. It gives you permission to do that.
Yeah, but when you're on live, you have to kind of be there live. So you can watch this on replay, so you can happily watch our conversation while you're doing other stuff, but attending a session needs to be live. And lastly, you mentioned something about, because I don't know why, I really love the Dying to Shine. And you mentioned something about a Facebook group as well.
Yeah, because you know what? Not enough people talk about death, loss. And, you know, loss doesn't necessarily have to be the loss of a loved one. It can be you now lost your job. You've retired and you no longer are required. Your children have flown the nest, no longer need to be mum 24/7. You lose identities. We lose labels, we lose relationships of friends that we've had for years. And you know what? You look at each other and you think, I actually don't want to hang out with you anymore.
Yeah.
And then, but who are you then? And this is where I want people to be able to feel safe space. The Facebook group is called Dine to Shine. And I want people to feel that they can come in there and share. That's where they can literally have advice from me free of charge in that space, you know. And I don't talk about it enough, and I need to push it a bit more to get more people in there, because folks need to know that this place exists. We need to talk about death a lot more.
100%. And just to know that this support is available, because I don't know about you, Buckso, but when my dad passed away, I didn't realize how much support was actually out there. And this is when my healing journey started, because then I discovered Reiki healers and I discovered other healing modalities. And I was like, but I would not have known that before. And it's really important for people to know that there is support out there.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know. However, you know, how trite that might sound. We just don't know what we don't know. So you have to make sure that you get out of the circle that you're in. You know, it becomes very comfortable to stay there. Get out, step out. If you see something that piques your interest over there, but you're thinking, what will people think? Do it. Even more reason to do it. If you're judging yourself when you're about to make a decision, even more reason to do it.
Yeah.
You know, step out with that voice that's telling you, that ego that's trying to keep you small. What are you here for? Are you here for mediocrity? If so, absolutely bless and really go ahead and do it. Be okay with that. Don't complain about your life. Don't complain about what you're having to deal with, or the people you're having to come across every single day at the job that you hate. Change it. Don't come and have a big poo on somebody else's plate and leave it there and trot off. Nobody wants that. You know, I'd rather have 3 people that I see regularly than 23 that are just there to
100%.
dump.
And you'll find that over as you get older, your network, that real close, immediate network, does actually get smaller, because you put up with less of that stuff, don't you?
You do, because again, it goes back to time. Time become a huge issue for me after my dad passed. I was like, I ain't got time for this. I haven't got much time left on this
Well, you
planet.
got 25 years.
You know what I mean? And I literally am saying that. It's like, I want to go. But at 20, I didn't give a damn.
No,
For
'cause
25
you're
years, it's
50
like, I'm
years.
still 45, you know? And honestly, it's like, damn, I've got so much to do. Please show me the way. What do I need to do right here and now to be of service? And that's what it is. And it's my mission is now, how many people can I connect with today? It's not about who can I get as a client. How many people can I connect with today? And that's where it's all at. And before we go, I'm not sure how long we've got left, but I would love to do something called the spiritual mind treatment.
Ooh, let's go. Let's I'm
Wow,
game.
threw that one in the spanner, didn't I, for you?
Yeah.
So
That's not written in my notes, but it's fine.
So this is what I want everybody to do who'll be listening to this now, in this moment. And you need to close your eyes. And when I speak, I'm going to speak as though I am you. And I'm speaking with the intention backed by universal law, when we recognize the power of the spoken word. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose, exhaling out. And really focus on this feeling right here, right now. This being still. Take another deep breath in through the nose. Exhaling out. Really setting the intention. And one more time, holding it at the top for 5 seconds, breathing in through the nose. Hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhaling out. Feel that buzzing around your head as we go into this intention setting. I recognize right here, right now, the one mind, the collective mind that has come together in this space, in this moment, in this now moment. Recognizing that now is really all we have. The future does not exist. The past no longer in our vision. And I realize with gratitude to have this knowledge that as a collective, the power behind the word, the spoken word, the intention that we set is magnified beyond any belief that we have, beyond all realms of possibility. And I know that I am tapped into this because I am tapped into source, the very essence of who I am. I fully connect with this on a daily basis, knowing that I am in communion with all that is, that runs through my body, my veins, giving me life, the chi, the flow, the energy. I am fully in connection with this. And I come to this space and place whenever it is that I wish to set an intention, because I declare right here, right now, that I have a life that I choose to live. I make the choices knowing that I am the creator of every single thing that comes my way and every decision I make as a result of that. And I do this from a place of love, knowing that there is no place for anything else except love, and everything that love and desire, everything that I ask for, I receive, because I'm doing it in the highest vibration. And I release all the need to know the what, why, where, when, and how, because my word is law in the one mind as it is in the divine mind. As together we say, and so it is. And there we go.
How amazing. That was so, so powerful. And I don't know about everybody else, but I am so glad you got your voice back.
Yeah.
There is so much power in your voice. And thank you, thank you, thank you for coming on my little chat series. But I really can't wait for the day that I see you on stage, not as an actor, but as Buckso, really spreading your mission far and wide. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Really, really appreciate the incredible, incredible energy that you brought to today's conversation. And I urge everybody who is listening to this to please reach out, because you just never know. Your life could be changed having one single conversation, which could be really, really amazing. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for listening. Anyone watching this at any point, thank you guys so much for joining us. And thank you again, Buckso.
Thank you.